Welcome along to Matchday Live Extra, where we're bringing you all the goals and talking points from Saturday's 4 Premier League games. Erik ten Hag left Cristiano Ronaldo out of his squad for a trip to Graham Potter's Chelsea. At Stamford Bridge, both managers were hoping to make another big statement. Fresh from 2 wins in 4 days, Liverpool were at bottom club Nottingham Forest, looking to make it 3 in a row. Erling Haaland was back at the Etihad, hunting for more goals for Manchester City as they welcomed Brighton. And Frank Lampard's Everton needed to end a run of 3 consecutive defeats as they faced Crystal Palace. And joining me to go through all the action, 3 Premier League legends: Paul Scholes, Gianfranco Zola and Jaap Stam. We begin in West London. Chelsea against Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. Your commentators were Andy Townsend and Joe Spain.
I think it was a good game, brilliant game. 2 teams who I think are close together. But in the first half, I think we dominated the game. And that was also, I think, why the opponent, why they switched their system. And then it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us. And that we saw, especially defense-wise, in the last minutes of the first half. But before that, we already, I think, we had to get up. Good chances, Rashford twice, Anthony. One-on-ones even with the keeper. So in this moment you have to use your chances. The second half, I think it was equal. It was a battle between 2 games or same height. And in the end, I think then a point that is, I think, justified.
Well, it's disappointing because you 1-0, you can see the end, but over the course of the game, I think a point's about right. I don't know whether we did well enough to win it. Of course, we got into the position to win it, but overall, really fighting performance from us. We improved a lot after 30 minutes. So in the end, we take what we get.
And what he got was a draw, and these 2 have now made 26 of those in Premier League history, the most drawn fixture we've seen in the Premier League era. Was that about right today for you, yeah?
I think so, yeah. Well, United was the better team the first half. We said that already. You know, they created a couple of opportunities, what we've seen as well. After that, I think after 30-35 minutes, when they made the sub, Chelsea, they got a little bit more back into the game. You know, created, well, not a lot of chances, but made it more difficult for United to play out. Second half, it was, as we say, like more of an open game. You know, you're going back and forwards without creating opportunities, hard-working teams. And then Chelsea goes ahead, you know, because of this penalty. But Chelsea wasn't the better team, of course. And then United comes back in and equalises, which is, I think, fair enough. They didn't deserve to lose, United. And if you look at opportunities, yeah, then you can say United was well deserved more out of it. But overall, if you're looking at that game, then I'm thinking 1-1 is fair enough.
Having said that, from a Chelsea point of view, when you're 1-up with 6 minutes to go, disappointment they couldn't close that out?
Yeah, I would think so also, because probably they were thinking the game was over. And but you know, when you play teams like United, there's never it's never finished until the end. And as I said before, fair enough to say that they deserve to get the point.
From a United point of view, when you're 1 down away from home at one of the big 6, is that a positive that you take something out of the game late on?
Yeah, that's fair. I think going away to these grounds, I said to the big teams, getting a point late on when you're obviously with not long left, 3 or 4 minutes left. I think they deserve it. I think over the whole game, I think they deserve to win the game. Really, if you look at the chances, the dominance in the first half, really not taking chances was a problem. And I never felt worried by Chelsea. You think of the attacking quality that they got with Mount, Aubameyang, Sterling. I never felt they were really in the game. I can't really remember them creating a chance between themselves or missing a chance. I thought it was a pretty dominant display overall by United.
But that's what I can say about Chelsea right now. I think Graham, when he came, I think he's made the team better defensively. We are conceding less, and we are solid. We can see that. But going forward, I would think there's still a lot of work to do. The team sometimes is not as fluid and flawless as it was before.
The way they obviously got the goal was through the penalty. If you were his manager, what would you say to Scott McTominay after this, Jaap?
Well, I think you bring him on because to make a difference, you know, and then after a couple of minutes when he comes on, and you see this happening, then well, you must be angry as a manager as well, especially if you look back at the situation. You know, players are doing it like this, defending like this in set pieces, and then afterwards they're saying, yeah, I didn't touch him, basically, while he's grabbing him like he's playing rugby, and he's making this foul. And you know, so you need to be aware. Your positioning in defending corner kicks or strikers in the box with corners is, it needs to be right. You need to be not like behind the player. You need to be like a little bit in front of him as well, so you can see the ball coming, but you also know where he's going to go. So you can anticipate to the situation. His positioning wasn't right as well, and that's why he needs to grab him, because he gets away from him, and he's making this foul. And then it becomes like, well, expensive if you concede a goal, and then you need to get back into the game. So, and then when you then equalise, you can say, yeah, okay, it's fair that you then eventually equalise. And that's these are small things that even young players need to learn as well. Because if you want to go to a certain level, you want to reach the top 4, or you want to win the league, then you don't need to make these mistakes.
And you've only been on 4 minutes, Scott McTominay.
The manager might have wished he refused to come on.
Not 2 in a week.
That would have been the better one. This would have been the better one. It's crazy. And as I said, with VAR around, you just can't do anything. It's you know, he's got a hold of him, and you know, some time ago, as I said before, when we were playing, you get away with that. You could do whatever you want. You could grapple, and referees would never give anything. But to do it right in front of the referee, and as I said, timing it as well was poor.
But how
do you defend and get your body shape right?
Yeah, but how can you defend like a corner as well? We're not looking at the ball even.
Exactly.
Because he's just looking at his player.
You have to look at both.
And he's not looking at where the ball is being taken. And then when the player's reacting, you need to react by grabbing him, basically. Otherwise, he gets in front of you, he gets away from you.
But it was interesting what you were saying, Jaap. It's, me as a striker, I want to get in front of you. In a corner, in a cross from that direction, I want to get in front of you. And you as a defender, you have to have a position in which you don't allow me to get in front of you. That was correct.
Because the striker was making the movement also to go in front. So if you were making the movement to go in front and he wasn't going to go to the back, you can always block him with your arm. It's not holding him. You can always block him a little bit.
He's so concerned with grabbing hold of the lad rather than being in the right position. You don't have to be that aggressive towards him. You don't have to touch him as long as you're in the right position, a yard of him. So that's the space he's got to run to, so he just runs into you, and that's when you block him, that's when you use your body. So you just got a little bit carried away with getting body to body, and obviously you just can't do that these days.
Would that striker have got ahead of that defender, do you think, Paul, in that situation?
I might have gone under him or through his legs or something. I'm not sure. But to be fair, he'd have been taking the corner. He wouldn't have been trying to get
he might have been taking the penalty. You've worked with Jorginho, 19 from 22 in the Premier League. What about this technique and the consistency he has from the spot?
No, it's very good. First of all, in order to take a penalty like this, you have to be really cool, because you have to wait for the goalkeeper to move, and then, you know, choose your angle. You really need to be in control of your emotions. I think the problem for him comes when the goalkeeper doesn't move. He stays until the end. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can be a problem.
Some record, that, isn't it? We've seen some great penalty takers in the Premier League era, but his record is right up there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. As Franco said, it's so brave. I remember when we were playing in training, there was a couple of players who used to do it. Just, you know, they're actually walking up and just staring at the keeper and just staring at his and then just tap the ball in whichever way he goes. It's so brave. I couldn't have, well, I'm not going to give you advice on penalty taking, because I was not very good. Me either, yeah.
Mine's still in outer space when I took it in 2000.
Still going.
I wasn't going to bring up Amsterdam 2000, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Good to know you got over it, yeah.
Because I knew you were going to go back to
No. Let's get to the header, because United kept going. 94th minute. Casemiro was brought in to do a different job, obviously, but he has got this in his locker.
Yeah, he can finish it. You know, at Madrid, sometimes he gets into the box as well. Against Everton, he did it, he missed. Now, great timing, great header. It's difficult from that position, being in the air and then bringing that ball all the way back again to the other post, and then goalkeeper tries to save it, but couldn't get his fingers around it, and then he goes in. So a very good header, a very important one as well.
Delivery as well.
Yeah, great delivery from Luke Shaw. I think he was on his hands and knees just before that ball came to him. He looked really tired towards the end of the game, but yeah, fantastic delivery. Really good header. just the more I watch this, I do question the goalkeeper a little bit. No, it's not right in the corner. Oh, God, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think if Mendy's in goal, but I think he saves that just purely by the size of him. I'm not sure what Franco thinks about that.
We're going to find out, because I'm going to ask him.
No, to be honest, he's made nearly a miracle, because it wasn't easy to get that. The header was fantastic on the opposite side. He was moving to the near post, and then he had to change the direction. And you were saying before that normally on that post you go with his arm, but if you go with his arm, you cannot push as much as if you try to reach with the opposite arm. That's the reason why the goalkeepers do that. And I think he's done enough to touch it. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't enough.
So that's a positive for United, as is one defeat in 9. Blemish for the day was Raphael Varane going off in the second half in quite a distressed and emotional manner, Jaap, as well.
Yeah, and I'm wondering why that is. Is he thinking because he felt probably something somewhere? Is it his knee? Is it his hamstring? He keeps, he goes down and he stays there, becoming very emotional afterwards as well, going off the pitch. I don't understand why, of course, he's showing this emotion. Is it because maybe he feels the injury, that is very serious, and maybe he's missing out on the World Cup? Maybe that's it, or maybe other things, I don't know. Players go to him as well, support him, but Well, I've never been in this situation, so I find it very, very hard to think about why it is, why you're so emotional as a player.
He must have done something really bad and he's going to be out for a while. That's the only thing I think of. You don't really see players, centre-halves especially, getting that emotional. And as I said before, he's going to be a big miss because he's the one central defender who can defend one-on-one. They don't have another one really, so replacing him, getting back as quick as he possibly can will be a huge benefit. Talking
of missing, Erik ten Hag was still asked about Cristiano Ronaldo after the game, again. Do you see him back in the squad straight away next weekend? What would you like to see happen here with this situation?
I have the feeling that's my feeling, that with this happening, that Erik is thinking as well a little bit further ahead in terms of using other players. Well, he already used other players more than Ronaldo, of course, but now even more, because something like this stays in the back of your head, doesn't it? If it happens, and not like it's fair to do so, but it's the whole situation that's been going on between United and Ronaldo. Is it the manager and Ronaldo, the choices that the manager made? Him not playing, he wants to play. We all know that if he stayed at the club in the beginning of the season, that he wants to play, and I think that's normal, because that's how he is. He's up and top. He's professional. He wants to score goals. He wants to play. If he's not being used, he doesn't feel part probably of the team. Is not being happy, which is normal as well, because I think at this level you need to be a player that wants to play every game, wants to make every minute. And with this happening, walking off the pitch, not wanting to come on, you're creating a little bit more within the club probably as well. And
do you think if he apologises, he'll let him back in?
Well, probably he let him back into the squad, because maybe he's thinking that he needs him, but and other players want him as well. But is that enough? After doing so, if a manager tells you what you need to come on, or your own manager, and one of your players is saying you want to bring him on, and he's saying no, I'm not going to come on, and he's walking off the pitch, he goes into the dressing room and goes home. You're thinking as a manager, next time I'm gonna use you and bring you on in front of other young players, maybe who are like working also very hard. And maybe not having this quality of Ronaldo, but
I think a lot depends on if he apologizes first. That will be the first step, and then his attitude when he goes back in training. If he goes back in training with the right attitude and he wants to gain his position in the right way, I think everyone will appreciate, and I'm sure he will have his chances again.
I don't think his attitude will be a problem. We know what he's like as a professional. I know he released a little bit of a statement yesterday. It wasn't an apology, more of a statement saying he got things wrong. And I think if he apologised, he'll be back in. I feel sorry for the last few United managers, really. They've always had a big player in the background that's always had a bit of an enigma with him. You think of Pogba for so many years, there was always a problem there. He's come in now, he's got the problem of Ronaldo always in the background, and it's distracting from his team and what he wants to do. The big problem he also has, he's still United's best finisher. So at times he's going to have to play. You think if he's coming on that game today, last 20 minutes, and they're getting the ball in the box, small pitch at Chelsea, I think, could suit him. There wouldn't be as much running to get around the pitch. He will still be handed for them to get points. And there's Europa League as well, where he wants to rest players, he wants to rest Marcus Rashford, he won't want him to play every game, and that's ideal for Cristiano. Whether Cristiano settles for that role, he's got no choice. If he wants to play for United and have a part or a role in United, as Jaap said at the start of the season, this role should have been defined, and then it's up to Cristiano whether he stayed or went. Now it's the same situation. He will have to accept playing not in the big games, possibly last 20 minutes in big games, but in probably these Europa League games. He's got to accept that. At 37, 38 years of age, a lot of us would accept it. He won't. He believes he should be playing.
How difficult is that when you've been such a good player to do what Paul's saying, Gianfranco? I mean, I know you were a substitute and used a handful of times, shall we say it?
Well, it's not easy because obviously when you are a such a big player, don't forget we are talking about one of the best players ever, one of the best strikers ever. So, and the reason why he's one of the best strikers ever is because also his personality, his character, the way he handles things, the way he takes things. He is very competitive. He wants to play all the time. I can understand that. If you are not that, you don't play until you are 37, 38. Probably is one of the fuels that he's got inside. So you have to be respectful for that. But having said that, he also has to understand that there is a team and there is a club, and nobody can be bigger than the club. So this is something that I'm sure Cristiano will consider, and
it's going to be, and I still, because you keep thinking about it, but it's difficult for him because he is Ronaldo, you know, he is his personality, and he acts how he wants as well, because he thinks he needs to do so as well, because it's in his right probably as well, because in how he is as a player as well. But does he then now need to go into the club and make apologies and everything, and then, you know, as long as he stays there, he needs to change his personality as well for everybody.
I'm not sure that apology is coming though. I don't know.
Well, no,
I'm not sure.
I'm not, but it's always something that stays there, you know, because probably a new manager comes in, he doesn't know him as well, he's working with him for only like a couple of months.
You have to remember the young players he's got in the squad who look up to him. A lot of them young players, he's their hero.
Yeah.
So to see him then walking off, I think he'll come. I think he might apologise. I won't put money on it, but I think he might apologise. I think he'll realise 2 or 3 nights sleep. You think that's wrong. That's not the way I want to remember at this club, and not remembered by all the kids who are going to watch him, the kids who worship him, who are playing with him. Look, I hope he does, and I hope he.
No, we all do, because we all like him very much as a player from the beginning of the season. We all, and maybe if we were managers of United, we would have said we play him more often than what happened now. But the manager, of course, is making certain decisions now, and of course, okay, when did he take him off last week as well? Then the reaction of him as well, you know, and that of course doesn't give people the expression as well that he's really into it, whatever, or he's being appreciated by the manager as well, you know. So that doesn't work for him as well. So it's a difficult situation, but hopefully he still can be very important for the club, for United, for the team, to help the team, you know, to go to a certain level, and that's what we're all thinking about. But it's becoming a very difficult situation, I think, for him, but also for the club.
Guess what? I don't think it's the last discussion we'll have about Cristiano Ronaldo. Next, we're off to the City Ground. Could Nottingham Forest get anything from a Liverpool side that had just beaten Manchester City? Watching this one in the East Midlands, Jim Beglin and Jim Proudfoot.
Feel like a turning point of the season, perhaps?
Well, we've got to make it that, and that's what we just said in the dressing room. You know, it's a winning mentality is when you win, is about doing better the next time. You know, and we've been fortunate to feel that last year. Me personally, in some of the experiences I've had over the years, you know, winners keep winning, and it's not about getting complacent. Like I said, the only thing today is one win. You know, and we've been on a poor run, but it's a great win, and it's. You know, I just want to see the boys even hungrier now when we return to the training ground, because that's what it's going to take. You know, we're still not in the league position we want to be in. We still haven't got the points tally we would have hoped to have had by now. So, it's hopefully a start of a turn, but we're in control of that.
All the chances they had, we gave them, because we played in the first half just too often. wrong passes in the center. We didn't want to do that, but it happened anyways. We saw always when we used the wing, then they were open because they closed the center that much. Little underlaps were possible on the wing, crosses, passes, everything was possible from there. But that will not be a free-flowing performance. It was pretty clear before the game. We had to make really late changes and, in general, a lot of changes. And then it's a game which you have to win by purely doing the right stuff again and again and again. And obviously we didn't, and that's why we stand here and lost the game.
Well, that was a shock defeat. Liverpool have lost 3 already this season, only 2 in all of last season, and that is 17 points dropped already in this campaign for Jurgen Klopp's side. Watching from afar, what's wrong at Liverpool?
Oh, what's wrong? I think they still have a very good side. They've got very good players. The only thing was lacking, I think, was in the beginning, especially the confidence. But you expect them, after the City game when they won, good results. Didn't play very well, but it is a very good result that they're getting when you beat the champions. That you think in the next game, well, it's not automatically a win, but at least you get something out of it. And playing at Forest on a very bad run. They need to win. You know that as well, so they're going to give you a hard time. But with the confidence that you're getting from the City game, you might expect them to get more out of this game. And it's always difficult to say from the start, okay, what's wrong with the team? I think it's all about adding new players. They had quite a bit of injuries as well, getting the confidence as well. Maybe oppositions like looking at them a little bit more as well in terms of where are the weaknesses. You see a lot of that when Alexander-Arnold played. A lot of teams are playing on that side as well, to take an advantage from there as well in creating opportunities. So, they need to get things right to eventually start competing again for the Champions League spots.
Well, I've seen Liverpool in the last few years. Also, we analyze Liverpool and Chelsea. And one thing that catches your eye when you see Liverpool is they're always physically dominant. It's not a team that tactically doesn't make mistakes. Actually, even defending, sometimes they leave spaces behind, but they have such a physicality that they can recover from mistakes. And this is something that this year, the few times that I saw them playing, that I didn't see. I mean, that predominance, physical predominance that they had always on. It was like an edge that they had on the opposition. So far, I don't see. Maybe it's a matter of period. Maybe they've worked hard in the pre-season. They're not yet where they should be or where they want to be. But what I don't see is that predominance that made Liverpool such a difficult team to play against.
Jurgen Klopp said afterwards, it's as low as it's possible to feel after a game when you've just beaten the champions like they had 7 days ago.
Yeah, I think I mentioned. I think injuries has been a major concern for them. You think a settled team, a settled back four, you'd like most weeks if you're going to be dominant and go on runs. They've had so many injuries. And Matip, Gomez. I know he's played today, but he's not been great. He played well last week, but he's missed a lot of games.
Jota's out now. Diaz is out.
Yeah, Trent's missed a lot of footballs. Jota as well. He's out. They lost Mane. Obviously, Mane's one of the top strikers in Europe, without a shadow of a doubt. Nunez has took a little bit of time to adapt to English football. Thiago, we all know what a brilliant footballer he is and a playmaker in the middle of the pitch. Again, I think he's ill today, but again he picks up injuries. A very inexperienced midfield player, other than Fabinho. You think of Curtis Jones, who himself has been out a long time. It's a big ask to come into a game and go to a team, especially who are fighting for their lives down at the bottom. It's not an easy place to go. Young Arbiella, who I think is. I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good footballer. I think he'll get better the more games he plays. But that's a really inexperienced team. He's got Jordan Henderson on the bench, who I think should be playing. I think he's the leader of that team. I think he's the captain, the one, probably in a Casemiro type of role that gets everybody ticking around him. He seems to have fell out with him, or he's carrying an injury. There's something not quite right there. And I think once you get all these players back, they're a top quality team. We know that there's something not quite right at the minute. I think at home they'll be fine. They'll always win games at home. Going away to these tough games, they seem to be struggling, whether it's mentally or physically. I'm not too sure. And
just a quick one on Forest. How much did they and Steve Cooper need that today in their situation with all the players they've brought in, Gianfranco?
Yeah, very much. I remember I saw one of the very first few games, and then it was against West Ham home when they won the game. And apart from the one, I thought the team was playing very well. I like the mentality. They're playing without fear and also good football. So then, obviously, when you start losing games, you lose confidence, you lose certainties, and then it's difficult. Today will be massive because it's not only the 3 points, but also the confidence that they're gonna get from these, from games like this.
Tremendous day then for Nottingham Forest, and one to forget.
With the ball, they are really, really, really good, and but they were in the first half really high press and high intensity. We were bleeding in that terms, and in the second half, the moment, the turning point, like we could score 3 goals with Riyad. I normally don't miss ones because it's so clinical. 1 minute later, we concede a goal, and after the motions are there, and they have more with the quality they have to play, and we suffer. And after, the quality for Kevin made the difference.
Today, I don't know if the result is right or unfair, but the City is a very, very, very good team. And in the second half, we played very well, and I can't say anything more to my player because they played second 45 minutes very well.
Now, we're in the company of one of the finest Premier League central defenders, 3 Premier League titles, treble winner with Manchester United. Jaap Stam, how often did you come up against somebody like Erling Haaland?
I don't know, quite often, I think.
Or in your pocket?
I don't know. There's always, when we played, there were great strikers as well. There was Henry, he was there. He was very, very fast, very quick as well. He had Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo. He had a lot of pace, but very, very.
But what about this fella?
A lot of quality on the ball as well. Yeah, you know him. He's got pace. He's got his physique. He can score a goal. To be honest, for him, looking at this, he does it very well. But look at the defenders of the opposition. 1v1. Why are the other ones not already? When Ederson has that ball, and you know he's got a kick to play that ball all over the top. Why are they not like tucking in a little bit more? So
come on, Jaap.
To cover a little bit more for the other one.
If you're the Brighton defender there,
well, you need to shove him more or less a little bit more. Use your body a little bit more, your shoulder to get him out of balance. So or he will trip, or at least he can't finish it. You need to be clever in certain situations a little bit more as well. But this guy, of course, Haaland, he knows how to deal with the situations as well. And if you're not stepping up yourself as a defender, and he's going to do it, then you're always second best, isn't it?
You have to be ready as a defender against another. You'd have been ready. You know the keeper can kick it like that.
Yeah, you're
in the right position anyway. But if you do get in the wrong position, that's where Jaap used his strength, bang out of the way.
You need to anticipate.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, you need to anticipate to the situation. But also the other ones, because you see, and their manager was telling that as well. At times they did it well. They wanted to press City high at times as well. In this situation, they want to press high, so they're all on their half. But you know, with the enormous amount of space behind you, they're going to be playing that ball in behind. And that's why they brought Haaland in as well. If the opposition is going to be pressing and you're a little bit deeper, they're going to be using that physique and that space, to change it or to play in a different way. And that's why he's playing that ball over the top.
If you were playing against him, would you like to play high against him? Was that what you'd rather do? You were quick enough. I would love. I think in the box is so dangerous. So I think playing the high line would probably suit someone like you.
I would like to do it as well. Yeah. Because we could do it. We did it a lot of times. When we played, then we just we pressed high up as well, and we played against very good teams and very good players as well. And then sometimes you need to take, but you need to have the ability to defend as well. But if you're in the box and there's so many players around you, if there's one little touch or whatever, you get a penalty or whatever, or you can't react quick enough to get close again. And when you're defending that high up, you need to have your positioning. You need to read the game well, not only looking at your striker, but also looking at the man who's got the ball and where is he looking, what is he going to be doing, so you can anticipate to the situation, to the movement around you as well in defending better. But nowadays, you see players only looking at their opponent over there, because Brighton is playing with 3. The other 2 are like looking at their opposition, and they're not focusing what's happening in the middle.
Where the danger is.
Where the danger is, and you can't do it. You need to do that to defend.
How did his song? Actually, I'm only joking. Don't repeat his song. Let me give you some numbers. 22 in 14 games now for Haaland, Gianfranco. He's already only 6 behind last season's Golden Boot total. I mean, you're laughing. It's crazy numbers.
It's crazy.
Is anything possible in terms of numbers for him this season if he stays fit?
He plays in a team in which the contest helps him a lot, because the way Manchester City plays offensively is unbelievable. They produce so many chances. They take the ball to dangerous areas so consistently that obviously if you are a good striker like he is, you can score. You can score many goals. But to be honest, I'm surprised. We were just talking before that normally Manchester City, or previously Manchester City, didn't involve the striker much. They used to play around him. They used to play a lot of balls on the wide areas, and then play a lot of cutbacks for the midfielders coming into the box. It seems that he has adjusted very much to the system, and the team has adjusted to him, and the result is an unbelievable result so far. But let me say, I totally agree with what Jaap was saying. The defender, they should be more aware. Nowadays, the defenders, there are more midfielders than defenders, and you can play high defense. Going to what you were saying, you can play, because if the manager asks you to play high, you have to play high, but you need to read the situation before. When there is a ball that is uncovered in the opposite midfield, you have to run before the striker and be ready on the run, on the spot. Sometimes you see defenders, they make a mistake. They're flat and they're making the pass in behind, and then they cannot catch, especially when you have somebody like Haaland that got so much power.
Absolutely. So return to winning ways for Manchester City. One more game to catch up on. That was on Merseyside. Everton had lost the last 3. They welcomed Crystal Palace to Goodison. Watching this one, Ian Dowie and Tony Jones.
Really good in every sense. Performance from the first minute, with and without the ball. Great goals against a good opposition. Just what we needed. We've had a tough run of games recently. Competed in every one, but not got results in the last few. But we showed we're back to ourselves today, and I was very, very happy with it.
We have to look at the game again to analyze, but it's important not to panic, because last week we had a really good performance. We managed to win the game, and today we didn't win. We knew that this consistency that we need game after game is something that we need to be better at, and today, of course, it was a bad day, a bad game for us, so we just have to remain calm and keep working.
Yes, defeat for Palace, but after 3 straight defeats, Gianfranco, how timely was that for Frank Lampard?
Oh, very important, huge, because obviously I agree with Frank. They've been competing. I've seen some of the games, they went very close to get a result, but they didn't. And when you are in this situation, if you lose confidence, then you lose competing as well. So this game is massive, not only because there was against Crystal Palace, which is a direct team, close team. So, but in terms of confidence and believing what they do, it's going to be very important.
And the way the table is at the moment for these managers, they've suddenly shot up to 11th, Everton. It was doom and gloom for 2 or 3 weeks there.
Yeah, it's so tight down there, as you say. Like a couple of wins, you're right up there. One win, you're right up there. They lost the last 3 games. A big result today for Frank. I think they really needed that against a good Crystal Palace team, who again are, they're in and around that mark where they're playing really well, but just not winning enough games. I think Calvert-Lewin's a big plus for him, having him back. He's a centre forward of real quality. Just his fitness problems. He has had them for quite some time now. If you could just get a nice run of games, nice little 10, 15 games out of him in the next couple of months, then I think Everton will have a chance of being top half.
Interesting. OK, so that is only a 4-game Premier League Saturday complete, but plenty of storylines, as we've been telling you over the last 60 minutes. That shock defeat for Liverpool at Nottingham Forest. They've dropped 17 points now this season. A huge win for Forest, and as we've just been discussing, for Everton after 3 consecutive defeats. 3 goals and 3 points for Manchester City against Brighton, and 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. There's a 5-game Sunday coming your way, including the leaders Arsenal at Southampton and Spurs welcoming Newcastle United. West Ham Bournemouth is the Monday Night Football. At the top, Arsenal chance to go 4 clear of City again if they can win tomorrow. Chelsea stay 4th, Manchester City in 5th. And at the bottom, psychologically massive for Steve Cooper and Nottingham Forest. They are now up to 19. Leicester, the bottom club, face Wolves, third from bottom, on Sunday. My thanks to Jaap, Gianfranco and to Paul on another eventful Premier League Saturday from the four of us. We'll see you soon.